Oh, now we got the heavy in here. Hello, how are you? Doing all right?
Mr. Bryant, these three chairs here, do you want them left there, or can we move them to the side? Okay. Can you grab one of these?
Do y'all want that, or do y'all want that, or? I think this is all of them now. They've all come.
Good afternoon. I'm calling the June 2nd, 2026 meeting of the Amherst County Board of Supervisors to order. The time is 3 p.m. Welcome, everyone. Board, the first thing is the approval of the agenda. If it pleases the rest of the board, I would suggest that we move the entire Section 8 new business up right after the consent agenda. It seems like there's a lot of people here that are interested in that section, so if that's okay, I would put a motion on the floor that we adopt the agenda as amended. Is there any discussion on that?
Mr. Chair, I make the motion, we approve the agenda with your recommended changes.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I vote aye. All right, you got that, Jeremy? Yes, sir. All right, if you would, please rise for the invocation by Mr. Adams, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Pugh.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day you've given us to come before you to handle the business of Amherst County. We thank you for all the citizens that come out to participate today. Lord, as always, we want you to continue to keep your protective hand over our law enforcement, public safety, and our military as they protect our citizens in this country day in and day out. Lord, we also ask you to keep us board in mind today and give us the wisdom and the strength to make the best decisions for Amherst County and the citizens that it serves. And all these things we ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving on to citizen comment. I have several people that have signed up to speak. If you haven't signed up, it's okay. You still can come up after that, but we'll go by the list first. If you would come forward, state your name and your district of residence, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. The lights on the top there, green means you're good to go. Yellow means you should be thinking about wrapping up, and red means you need to stop, okay? And if you get to red and you keep going, I'll ask you to stop and step away from the podium. So the first person that signed up is Samantha Salvi. If you come forward and state your name again and your district, please.
My name is Samantha Salvi. I live off Kings Road, Madison Heights in District 4. As someone who lives about a half a mile from the site, I'm here to voice to you my concern about the cleared land on Kings Road and the possibility of a data center being built there. My husband and I have lived in Madison Heights for over 10 years. It's such a beautiful and welcoming place, and honestly, there's nowhere that I'd rather live. Many of our neighbors, many who have spoken at these meetings, are the kindest and most hospitable folks that you could ever meet. Good people who would help you, even if they didn't know you. We have gardens, animals, friendships, and families. We don't deserve to have our land and our lives ruined. Data centers cause damage to the environment, air, water, and the health of the people who live near them. And the amount of power and water they use is absurd and unsustainable. I think anyone with a functioning brain can figure out that all these data centers going up rapidly all over our country are not for us. They always come about in secrecy, never transparency. And the more you learn, the more you realize opposing these data centers should be everyone's #1 priority. With that said, I am aware that no direct announcement of what is to be built on that land has been revealed yet. However, if there is even the slimmest chance of a data center being built there, the people have a right to know. We are the people who live in that community, and we are the ones who will be most affected. We deserve a say. I'll be honest, until recently, I was pretty ignorant of the role and function of local government. It was something I never thought about. It didn't affect me. But after some research, I've learned quite a lot. According to Amherst County's own website, the stated mission of the Amherst government and the supervisors is to, quote, nurture a vibrant and healthy community through transparent, responsible leadership. I ask you, what exactly is vibrant or healthy about endless noise pollution, wells and rivers sucked dry, toxic emissions, dead wildlife, and people forced to leave their homes? Clearly, a data center would only serve to diminish and destroy the community that we have. So I ask you, members of the board, to do what you were elected to do. Please be transparent with us. Stand with us. Bring this issue to the Planning Commission. Do whatever you need to do to get that land rezoned from by right to special use, to give the community a say, and stop any future data center from being built there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Salvi. Okay, Mr. Mark May, if you'd come forward, please. Again, state your name and district for the record.
My name is Mark May, 340 Kings Road, Madison Heights, District 4. Mr. Chairman, members of the Amherst County Board of Supervisors, I am a lifelong citizen of Amherst County, and I've poured my heart into this community. During my 43 years of teaching and coaching, one of my goals was to instill a sense of pride in the county in which we live. The mission of the Amherst County Board of Supervisors is to nurture a vibrant and healthy community through transparent and fiscally responsible leadership and quality public service. As you are members of this governing body, I am assuming you all desire to fulfill this mission. Furthermore, the vision statement expands on your commitment. Amherst County will be the community of choice for people to live, work, play, and learn. It will be known for its safety, neighborly atmosphere, connectedness, its business, education, recreational opportunities, and passions for its natural beauty. In the 1980s, my wife and I were looking for our perfect slice of Virginia to live. We spent 10 years exploring all areas of Amherst County. Finally, we agreed that 340 Kings Road would be the place for us. At that time, the land was zoned agricultural, and we were going to establish our home and farm there. The Dillard tract was being used by Mr. Hunter to raise cattle, and the neighborhood was rural, but still near the city. Currently, we own 89 acres that directly borders this Dillard tract, and our home is approximately 150 yards from the property line. I understand change will happen. However, responsible changes that do not adversely affect the community is a standard which the citizens expect. I have witnessed over the past year the total devastation of God's creation and the wildlife habitat of hundreds of species of wildlife. One of our enjoyments has been having the windows open in our home and hearing God's choir of birds, animals, and insects sing well into the night. Before the crack of dawn, the birds begin to welcome us to the new day. In summary, being a landowner with a significant amount of land directly bordering this tract in question, I would like to express my concern about any possible entity that could potentially pollute our land, water, or air. I trust the elected officials of Amherst County to assure the citizens they will be protected and our county can be the community of choice for people to live, work, play, and learn. I would be naive to think change will not occur. For the elected officials to orchestrate responsible change that would not adversely affect our environment and the quality of life of the taxpaying landowners of Amherst County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Walthall, guys, thank you so much. I'm glad you're coming. I'm glad you appreciate with them, but we can't move the meeting forward if you're doing that. So if you could refrain a little bit. Steve Walthall, District 4, if you come forward, please.
My name is Steve Walthall, and my wife Shelby and I reside at 363 Kings Road in District 4 for 30 years. Our property overlooks the Dillard industrial sites. After listening to a chipper run for what seems like forever, we now enjoy a much better view of Tobacco Row Mountain. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of our Board of Supervisors. I thank you all for serving our community in a way that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. You all are in a difficult and sometimes thankless position, and I sincerely thank you for all your hard work. When we bought our property, it was zoned A1 agricultural, and a large portion of what is now the Dillard industrial sites was also zoned A1. So for anyone who might say, so you bought land next to an industrial site, what did you expect? I didn't. Our refrigerator broke. I ordered the part, and it should be here today, so I hope to get it fixed tomorrow. What's my point? We're all living our lives in the present while trying to plan for our future. Today, some of us are dealing with sickness or disease in ourselves or someone we love. We're mowing our lawn, planning a vacation, or maybe like me, you're recovering from one. Going to school, going to work, hoping to visit our kids or grandkids or have them stay with us for part of the summer. We're gardening, making improvements to our homes and to our property, or maybe we're just sitting on a porch drinking sweet tea, looking at Tobacco Row Mountain and praising God for his glorious creation and the grace and mercy he gives to all of us every day. I could go on and on. That's today. Our future? Well, you can become a little concerned when you're getting strange texts touting the too good to be true benefits of building a data center in your community. Texts from which I can't find the source. And the timing seems strange. This all seems so strange to me. The rumors, the texts, the timing. It seems we're all being influenced by someone or some group that wants us to move forward with a project that I'm hearing doesn't exist. Yet. Lastly, let me say this. We're all leaving legacies for our children. I've been working on one of mine for 30 years. What legacies are you leaving behind? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Joseph Garrett. Joseph Garrett. If you'd state your name and district, please.
My name is Joseph Garrett. My family's farm is in District 4 on River Road. Board of Supervisors, we're living in a unique time where the demand, scale, and speed of data center construction has vastly outpaced state and federal regulations. Because of this, you find yourselves in an extraordinary position. Your actions surrounding this matter will define your legacy. Across Virginia, the diligence of local leadership is often the only thing standing between raw corporate power and the health of our communities. We have seen what happens when these entities go unchecked. The use of PFAS, chemicals so toxic in their ability to cause disease such as cancer that the federal safety limit equals just 4 drops in 20 Olympic swimming pools. Unbridled violations of the Clean Air Act. families driven from homes by an inescapable low-frequency noise that permeates their walls, clean well water becoming undrinkable, and leaks hidden behind the veil of NDAs while water and electricity costs are shifted to everyday citizens. You are on the cusp of making irreversible generational decisions. Megalithic entities are paying highly skilled representatives to influence you. But if they push back against revoking the by right zoning of this land, it is for one simple reason. They do not want you or the people you represent involved in the process. They do not want you cutting into their profit margins. If this land is not rezoned from by right, our local planners will only be able to check basic building codes. You will not be able to say no. You will not be able to force changes that protect us, and they will never have to disclose what chemicals they are bringing into our backyards. They do not want your involvement, but we do. Just 4 years ago, a 300-gallon chemical spill in Harris Creek caused 6 miles of fish kill. This data center will likely house hundreds of thousands of gallons of glycol mix directly above Harris Creek, the James River, and the groundwater that we drink from. Will you give yourselves the power to force an investment in safer alternatives like propylene glycol rather than highly toxic antifreeze? Will you have the leverage to stop them from running an on-site gas turbines 24/7, multiplying the pollutants in the diesel generators what the generators will already produce? Will you mandate earthen barriers to absorb the noise so that families, mine having been tied to this land for 4 generations, are not driven from their homes? Will you even have the power to know which components of this facility contain the deadly PFAS that I mentioned? Communities across Virginia are being forced to answer these exact questions and more. Northern Virginia is learning from its mistakes, while Central and Southwest Virginia are facing this threat for the first time. The only way to secure these protections is by revoking by right zoning. The only rights these corporations will have in Amherst County are the rights that we grant them. We're not rootless tech billionaires. We are tied to this land, and it is our duty to be good stewards of it. The question is not whether you should rezone, but how you will wield the immense power and duty that comes with doing so. We are trusting you to carry that weight.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. Shirley Bay, B-A-B-O-E, Bo, Shirley? Anyone? Oh, you didn't want to speak? Okay. Mr. James Curtis, if you come forward and state your name and district, please.
James Curtis. We have a farm at 259 on Kings Road. You've heard from 2 of our neighbors. That's farmland, and cattle's been there. It was in the family of the Tyrees since 1905. I'm a partner with Carol Tyree. We do not plan to sell it. We've kept this to retire on, to build. There's a log cabin there built in 1905. And what we're gonna have to look at, and you've heard all the status about the environmental part, but our beauty will be looking at land we thought we'd be looking at a mountain. I hope you reconsider and think about the history of the people that's lived there. And this is not the right thing to put. We need jobs, but there's a lot of businesses could be put there that would be environmentally safe for the cattle, our views, and certainly not a data center. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Salvi, you signed both sheets, so you got to speak though, right? Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? If you come forward and state your name and district of residence, please.
Amber Lissy, Claudia Tuckers. One second. Glitch.
49 rejections or restrictions of data centers in the U.S. 49 for all 12 months in 2025. There have already been 79 through today, in the first 4 months and 1 week of 2026, and two this week, one in Ferguson, Missouri, and one in Wichita Falls, Texas. I think that what is happening with the data center issue, Jim, is a cultural backlash, and that the cultural backlash is ordinary people looking at big tech, at Amazon, Google, Oracle, Microsoft, Meta / Facebook, the rest of them, and they don't trust big tech, and our privacy has been taken, and I think people are looking at all this and saying, I can't fight these big companies, these monster companies, these multi-trillion-dollar companies in the virtual world, but I can fight them or even stop them in my neighborhood. The opposition is really bipartisan. There was a March poll done by Quinnipiac, very briefly. The staunchest opposition to data centers found in the March poll by Quinnipiac found 65% of Americans oppose data centers in their communities. Staunchest opposition was among Democrats, 78% opposed, 66% of independents, 56% of Republicans. Of the reasons they cited, 72% cited electricity, 64% were concerned about water, 41% cited noise, and then in the same poll, 70% believe that people believe that were polled said that AI will lead to fewer opportunities, and more than half, 55%, said AI will do more harm than good.
This is not for Amherst County.
Ma'am, could I ask you a question? Could you come back? I just want, who was that speaking?
Financial Sense.
Okay, thank you very much. Just for the record, please. All right, is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Mr. Laverty, if you'd come forward.
Mark Laverty, District 2, Claudia Tucker's district. Back when the citizens were afforded the opportunity, and I say that lightly, afforded the opportunity to have the ability to vote on something versus just having you have the final and all say. The citizens defeated Rosie's, and that casino is a vice business. And Claudia at that time went out on public and social media to assert claims which I call fear-mongering over taxation. I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to address now her latest fear-mongering. This is on Facebook. Regardless of your political affiliation, you should read this. This is the best explanation of why Americans need to keep an open mind about data centers. It's bigger than just a county or state. This is much bigger. We are on the cusp of a technology surge like we have never seen. Will we lead or allow China and others to lead? I trust America. Boy, does that sound like mom and apple pie. But here's my response. I sent to all of you a video by a person who I admire named Whitney Webb. I won't play the video. I wish I could, but I won't. But this is my response to Claudia. Watch this video, please. It thoroughly and unabashedly debunks Claudia Tucker's position that we must have AI data centers to thwart China. What a crock of propaganda BS, in parentheses, see attached Facebook post, copy, paste. It's obvious that you, Claudia, know little about leading, but a whole lot about deception. Let's address the latest round of text message propaganda touting the idyllic utopian society where a simple AI data center can relieve you of all your worries regarding taxation. Same BS spin was done after Rosie's vice operation was defeated by the citizenry. Claudia, you are an abject failure regarding constitution representative, but are a pro at lobbyist agended opportunities. Please resign. Thank you.
Ms. Pryor, I know you had your hand up.
Barbara Pryor, District 3 this time, Chris Adams. When I was a young child in the 1950s, I remember planting young saplings with my father and sister Peggy on our land on Puppy Creek Road. Some of those trees are still alive. Before my father died at 76 years old, he wrote me a letter to the family addressing his vision for the land, which had been in and out of the Pryor family since the mid-1700s. I abhor the clear cutting of all woods except for reasonable purposes. Some land should be completely reserved in its natural state so that future generations may see the wonderful forests of their ancestors. When young, our family traveled to Mexico, Canada, and all the way to Alaska, multiple trips to Yellowstone. As I aged, multiple trips to Ireland and across Europe. I began to experience life from a larger reference point. Space shots and moon travel broadened our understanding of Earth revolving in a vast universe. Reading Buckminster Fuller introduced me to the idea of doing more with less and Spaceship Earth. My father would be very saddened to see what a supposed intelligent species has done to the only home it has to live on and with. I am Earl's daughter and voice. I love the land as many of your parents, grandparents, and ancestors did. Our ancestors who farmed and fished understood the land and its needs. We are not honoring our ancestors if we do not protect the land. We are also dishonoring our descendants if we do not leave a healthy planet. Humanity is at a major turning point, with less than 0.5% appear to be in control. Greed instead of common sense, science, and dare I say it, empathy, have left the rest of us with the nightmare we are watching the plan being destroyed acre by acre and with no means to stop it. Members of the Board of Supervisors, the EDA, et cetera, that's involved with this, you must protect our county from harming our water, air, and soil. Life as we know cannot survive without clean air, clean water, and nutrient-rich soil, and which all should be protected by this community. Our leaders need to understand that our time on this planet is brief. We must honor Earth and future generations by safeguarding its air, water, and soil. Please think carefully about the data centers what they do to communities and their futures. We live on the planet. Life requires breathable air, water, soil, and this piece of green doesn't feed you. It doesn't give you substance. It may buy food and water now, but we know it doesn't have the value it used to. So please think clearly. I respect each and one of you, and vote no to data centers.
Thank you, Ms. Pryor. Is there anyone else? Did you drop your dollar? Okay. Sir, would you like to address the board? Come up and please state your name and district, please.
How y'all doing today?
Good.
I would like to know who owns the property.
Well, can you state your name and district, please?
Kenneth Thompson.
You know what district you're in?
I'm sorry, what?
Whose district you were in? 4?
But yeah,
District 4. Okay, thank you. So you,
I'm sorry, I'm old and about half deaf. I ain't
so am I. So, do you want to say anything?
What I'd like to know is who owns the property and who's going to be benefiting from it. I understand the guy in West Virginia has the Old Dominion brick plant up there as part of it. Is that correct?
All right, typically, we do not answer questions during this part, but we'll get you that information, okay?
I would be ashamed to let anybody know who he is to.
Okay.
I got a piece of paper here I'd like for y'all to look at. all of you are intelligent people, and down my mind, got a lot more education than me. Look on that paper and tell me how much a man paid me for the cars he hauled away. How much he weighed, or how much he paid, how much did I collect? That's the kind of fellow you're dealing with, I think.
Chairman, could you paraphrase that? Because I know I didn't hear it, and probably people on YouTube didn't hear it.
Okay, so I think Mr. Thompson had a question of who owned the property and who would benefit from it if it was developed. And then he presented a recycle receipt from a Berry Iron and Metal Company that he wanted us to look at. So I'm going to pass that down. Okay? Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Yes, ma'am, in the orange. I believe that's orange, yes. If you'd state your name and district, please.
Carol Elkins, 5th District. Just moved down from Northern Virginia. And I think everyone here and everyone in the room should keep in mind that there's no such thing as a data center. You get one and it opens the floodgates. There will be nothing but data centers everywhere. Want everyone to keep that in mind, you know. Every piece of land, every scrap will be taken up, just like in Fairfax and Northern Stafford, where I'm from, that area. And I spent some time as a landscape architect with the National Park Service and the state of California. And the building, it's not just the footprint of the building. The effects spread and spread and spread from these things. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? In the very back with your hand up, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir,
there's a lady been in the corner for a while after this gentleman.
I saw her.
Speak before me if you want.
Either way, you'll be next, ma'am.
No problem.
I apologize.
So my name is Alex Grieve, District 4 or 5, depending on which side of the street I sit on. Data centers, big problem, maybe, maybe not. I didn't prepare a speech, but if I could speak in front of the federal government and wing it, I think I'm okay here. In any case, I've heard a lot of, well, frankly, BS about data centers. 1,500 jobs. Those are temporary. Those are construction. It only take a handful of individuals to run it. So, but the truth is, they're coming. They're going to be here in the United States. Will they be here in Amherst County? Well, that's for you guys to decide. Thing is, how will it benefit or take away from the community? The idea of dangerous chemicals. How do we regulate that? How do we keep that from being exposed to those? I know a lot of people are worried about air quality, but is that an issue for data centers? What exact emissions are they going to have? Are they going to require fresh water or not? Are they going to make our power prices go up? These are things to consider. So obviously, they take a lot of power, and if they're going to be pulling power off the power grid, that's going to cost us a lot more. And that shouldn't be the case. So whether it goes in or not, it should have a minimal impact on the community. Light pollution. Nobody wants to see a factory outside their door. Nobody wants to see lights. You know, we want to see the stars at night. Let's minimize light pollution. Water and discharge. Is it going to affect our water table, our wildlife? For the most part, unlike, say, the pipe-making plant down in Lynchburg, data center's probably minimal impact, but we should be sure, we should be responsible that it stays that way, whether it goes in or not. So again, make sure whatever goes in, minimal impact to the community. There's no such thing as a project of any type that has no impact at all. When a housing development gets built, it has an impact. When any business gets built, it has an impact. The idea is minimal negative impact, maximum positive impact, and putting the safeguards around that to do so. And I trust you'll do that.
Thank you, sir. Okay, next in the back, ma'am, if you'd come forward, state your name and district, please.
Hi, again. My name's Charlene Tisver. Some of you know me as Charlie. If you call me by Charlene, I won't answer. I don't know my district. I live in the Monroe area, up in the Blue Ridge Forest subdivision. I don't know how many people around here have actually driven by a data center or been through it. I have, out in Oregon, drove by one. I could feel it and hear it before I saw it. And it wasn't a very big data center. This was a smaller one. Most people know me, I guess, if you want to talk politics or whatever. I'm as pretty far in the middle as you can kind of get. I've been raised to question the people that are in charge and, you know, hold what you say with a curiosity and not as pure belief. Now, I will say with this board, anywhere else that I've lived, I got to say y'all got a tough job, and I really do support all of you. But more importantly, I support everybody here. These are my neighbors. But try not to get upset. These are my friends. These are my daughter's, you know, this is her future. My daughter works for Johnson's Health Center. She is a scheduler. Central Virginia, I just heard, laid off 90 administrative jobs going to AI data centers. I don't know if y'all have applied for a job lately, but you try to get on LinkedIn or Indeed or anything like that, you're pretty much wiped out. It is a full-time job just to find a job. And that's because AI is eliminating you before you even get a chance. I don't see any benefits to this when they talk about the social media and that stuff. I've heard that argument online. You know, well, you need to get rid of your TikTok if you don't want data centers. That's not what these data centers are doing. We've had social media and all these things out here way before all this big, huge data center has grown up. So there's something bigger coming. There's something a lot bigger coming. And you can feel it vibrating through your body, and you can hear it before you see it. And the last thing I want to say is that my understanding of NDAs, it means secrecy, means lack of accountability, lack of showing us and telling us exactly what is coming. And that is not a safe place for you or anybody else. The other thing I find with NDAs is once you get into bed with it, you're going to be spending a lot more money than what you got initially to get out of it. Litigation and that sort of thing to stop something is a nightmare we do not even want to get into.
Thank you, ma'am. Your
Thank
time's
you.
up. The next person. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board, please? Yes, sir, in the maroon hat, if you'd come forward, state your name and district.
Afternoon, I'm Kyle Murphy, District 4. I feel fortunate to be self-employed and able to meet you this afternoon. While most people are working, I hope that the words that I and others have said today, you feel their weight as we share their concerns of the community with you. Our little 24-acre spot of land on Harris Creek feels like an oasis from the increasing busyness of 29 business corridor, excuse me. While I'm not against industry, and I know that it plays a large role in supporting our community as well as our citizens do with their tax dollars and their businesses. While our ask is that you support and ratify our suggestion to make data centers special use. To gain some control over the negotiations of resources, uses, and their environmental impacts, specifically water use, which is my biggest concern. As you may know, District 4 is known for having a less than ideal aquifer. There are many homes around us with multiple wells, some dry, cisterns because of low flow rates. Henry Lanham Jr. water filtration plant is producing 3 million gallons a day for 6,600 service users. Can it and its sources support supplying doubling that supply? We would like to ask for special zoning, special use zoning, so that we can have the opportunity to protect this aquifer area from being drained and potentially contaminated. And some reports, as some reports are showing, are happening around the country. Examples, they're showing examples of. Even closed loops use up to 6,000 gallons per day. If and when a data center comes, what happens? Data center comes. I would hope we can trust you to protect this sensitive resource. Special use permit would allow this negotiation and hopefully more transparency about the impacts projecting and the projected project. Where and how is the water going to be released? Will these companies be responsible for bringing public water if our wells are unsafe to drink and or run dry? Henrico County has a large data center by QTS, and it's also growing, but they've recently changed their special use, their by right zoning to special use. And I encourage you to wonder why.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you. I hope that you'll join Campbell County and Lynchburg in unanimously voting special use. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Yes, sir. Come forward and state your name and district, please.
Not very good at this. My name's Steve McKenna. I live at 58 Mount Pleasant Road. So I am well out of the area where this data center will be. I don't know all the particulars of this, the purchase of this property to be an industrial area. I would like to figure out why. We have 3 industrial parks, one at the north end of Amherst, one on Route 60, and one on Route 130. Very little other than Glad and Buffalo air handlers, but the other 2 are basically empty. Now you want to bring in a data center, which by everybody's account is not a good thing for the environment. If there's a diesel spill, if there's a chemical spill, it is going to stress an already aged electrical grid. We couldn't have a solar farm because it was going to ruin certain people's view. I understand that. I know where I live. It took me 7 years when I bought my property to build my house. This was where I wanted to be. I love the county. I love the people. This, I think, is a terrible, unbelievably terrible idea. We need industry that's going to create jobs. As one man said, this will be a short-term employment for the construction. And I can almost guarantee that most of the construction is going to be done by out-of-area contractors because it's a specialty project. Any maintenance being done to it will be from out-of-area contractors. You have little of no impact on the county. So I have to wonder, how is this data center, with every bit of disapproval for this, how is this going to affect and improve Amherst County? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Yes, sir, in the white, I'm sorry, ma'am, if you'd come forward in the white shirt. State your name and district, please.
I'm Denise Jones, District 5, I believe. I don't keep up with politics too well, but as he mentioned, my concern, they say up to 1,500 jobs. he had a very valid point that I'd already had noted, that those contractors most likely are gonna be bidded and from somewhere else. And it's temporary. The other thing, the studies have shown that the increase in asthma cases and migraine cases, they are amplified every time a data center gets put in that area. I'm a sufferer of both and have finally got them under control. The last thing I want is something to amplify that. And I'm sure nobody wants that either. And then my other thought was, Amherst County, I have been here 10 years, and I've always known it to be the pride of Monacan Nation. And I just think, would the Monacans really like this? The ones that were originally here? I don't think so. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Sir, in the very back. If you'd state your name and district, please.
My name is Ben Jonas. I'm District 4, live on Kings Road, near where this whole thing's going in or whatever they're doing. It's just a stone's throw from my house, and I believe in private property. I think you should be able to do kind of what you want on your own land until it affects your neighbor, and then you have an obligation to respect their private property too, and whatever goes in there is definitely going to affect my land. So I think it's the government's role to protect us, citizens. And I think you guys have heard all this stuff about the possible dangers or issues with data centers. I don't see any advantage in it for me or anybody that I know. The construction will come from somewhere else. I know how that works. I really think that the idea of, I've heard a lot, I don't know a lot about it, but I have heard a lot about NDAs. You guys know how that works. You're free to not say something for as long as that lasts. But the consequences of the decisions that are made there will be accountability for what the decisions that are made. That doesn't hide it forever. Once things go in, people will know who did that, and there'll be consequences for that. And I just think, well, I mean, there's a voice out here, it needs to be listened to. I think there was also public money used in this whole thing. And if there's public money involved, that's my money. I should have a say in it. Thank you for listening to me, but actions speak louder than words. In the long run, what happens here, there will be accountability for, and I hope you guys make decisions that are good for all of us, that live there and that will be affected by it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Anyone else would like to address the board? Yes, sir. If you'd come forward, state your name and district, please.
My name's Joan Stanley. I'm in District 3. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good afternoon. I hear all these folks talking anti-AI. And I just want to bring to their attention and to your attention some of the things that AI does for us. 3 times this morning I have used AI in my work, believe it or not. I can pick up this iPad and I can tell it what I want to do, and it'll come up with a nice, perfect letter with my digital signature there, and I can send it anywhere I want to send it. My job, I work for Bonaire Jet. I manage 14 airplanes and 32 people. And one of our jobs is we haul human organs, heart, lungs, liver, pancreas, and the kidney. If any of this group in here goes anywhere to get a heart transplant, a kidney transplant, a lung transplant, they're going to be using AI whether you like it or not. Now, I'm not saying I'm against it or for it. I'm just telling you what it does. So keep this in mind. We pick up 3 doctors on occasion, and we go to this hospital. Those 3 doctors go in and they'll harvest a heart. We sit there and wait for it. And they keep it beating. I got pictures I can show you. They keep it beating the whole time we are there. They rush it to our airplane. We rush to a destination, and It's turned over to 3 other doctors. They implant it. All of it done with artificial intelligence, robots. And if you think about it, a robot with a little knife in his hand is not shaking. A doctor, especially if you're my age, it might be a little shaky. Now, which one would you want to be working on you with a heart transplant, lung, kidney, pancreas, or any of that stuff that deals with medicine? We deal with it every day. And the doctors come in and they'll tell you, I don't do the work, I run a robot that does it. It's all done by AI. So when you start criticizing AI, it's coming, whether we, the United States of America, gets it, or whether Russia gets it, or whether China gets it, it's coming. It's going to happen, I guarantee it. Was somebody pointing at me? Okay.
We don't want to hear you. You address the board.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't know what you got,
We
but.
want to hear you. Address the board.
Okay, sir, please address.
I'll address y'all. Okay, so it doesn't matter, as I say, what you're trying to do, AI is going to play a part in it. And if we don't adopt it, I can guarantee you China or Russia will. And we'll be working for them by them working for us. Everything that we do this day and time, I don't care what you say about it, computer-wise, health-wise, controlling airplanes, it's all done by AI. So keep that in mind. It's not such a bad thing when you need it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Yes, sir, in the gray. You come forward and state your name and district, please.
Lynn Fleshman. I live on Kings Road, right across from the projects going on. If y'all like it so much, you put it in your own backyard.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Yes, sir. Come up, state your name and district, please.
My name is Cameron Day. I'm with District 4 under Mr. Pugh here. I just learned minutes ago that apparently you all signed an NDA to not discuss what's being planned with the citizens. Keep in mind, you all represent us, not corporate America, and signing agreements to keep secrets from people that you represent. Just keep that in mind.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Anyone else that would like to address the board? Yes, ma'am. If you'd come forward and state your name and district, please.
Hello, my name is Angie Coleman in District 4. Live on River Road, right at the bottom of Kings Road, where all of this development is taking place. We've heard the noise. We've seen the dirt. We've seen the view, which I understand somebody up here said that if you own the view, if you own the land, you own the view. Well, we have owned the land. This property that we live on has been in my family's possession for almost 200 years. We've lived there 51 years, and the view has been beautiful, quiet, serene. It's finally come around from the industry that's on the river and has taken place there. We have eagles that land in our yard, that fly around. We have the deer that come through. That's all going to change if y'all go through with this. This is not for us that you're doing this, that you represent us. You're not doing it for us. And as he just said, you all have backyards. Put them in your backyard. Do this for the town of Amherst. Why do you keep pushing all of this stuff in Madison Heights? Bring us a business that we can live with and support. Everybody in Amherst goes either into Lynchburg or to Charlottesville to shop. They don't stay in Madison Heights. They don't stay in Amherst County. Bring us, where's our Kroger store? Bring us a Kroger store back. Bring us a Walmart neighborhood store. Anybody that lives in the town of Amherst that's going to shop, we've got 3 or 4 Food Lions. Can't you bring us something else that we can use instead of prostituting yourselves for whoever has the most money to dangle in front of you for this project that we don't want? It's our land, our views. We don't want it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board?
Over there.
Yes, ma'am. If you'd state your name and district, please.
Hello, my name is Becky Henry, and I'm in District 4. I just wanted to read this in regards to the NDA. This is directly from our local EDA. I messaged them after their post where they commented on honoring community engagement, so I inquired directly of what that would mean. And they responded with, because the property is already owned by the EDA and currently zoned for industrial use, there is not a public hearing requirement tied to a potential sale or project inquiry. So as long as this land stays by right, we have no community engagement per protocol. We get no say, we have no negotiations. So this just further verifies that we need to rezone this property.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, we're going to close the public comment section, and we'll move on to the consent agenda. Board, is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Ms. Tucker to adopt the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of adopting the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. The consent agenda is adopted. All right, we'll be moving on to new business. So appropriation of the school's fiscal year 24-25 deferred revenue. Dr. Houghton, Mr. Houghton, and Kim Laconic.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So the first appropriation is for the school's deferred revenue from last school year. We usually do this, post-audit. However, some of these items have to be spent by June 30th, so we are bringing it to you this afternoon. The deferred revenue is $710,245.89, and 88% of that is made up of the school division state funds of their All in Virginia, which was funds that we had received, and we had 3 years to spend, and this is the last school year. And so of that $626,000 of that is the All in Virginia, and that's funding our summer school program and several FTEs this year. So do you have any questions on this appropriation?
Board, is there any questions? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the FY 2024-2025 deferred revenue.
So that's the 710,245.89.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with my
I got you. So your motion was, I move the board appropriate the $710,245.89 of additional revenue to the 2025-2026 school operational budget. All right?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All right, if not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. All right. The next one is the appropriation of school year end funds.
Yes, sir. So when we were going through the budget process, there was a lot of conversation about those one-time items that were put into the put into year-end to be funded by the year-end funds that the county holds for the school division. And this is a request to appropriate the funds from the year-end balance and put them into the school operational. The reason we want to, although it was designed to do it this way, we want to put it into the school operational because part of its health is to cover the health insurance shortfall, and our health insurance is not sitting in CIP or any other fund. And we typically do buy the school buses and vehicles through our operating. So we are asking for those funds to be removed from the year-end balance, put into the operational to cover those expenses this year.
Okay. Board, is there any questions? Question.
Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
So you know you have $740,000 in year-end funds already?
We know that what our balance was the last time for the audit, and it's sufficient from that.
Okay. Mr. Adams?
So that's what I was going to ask him. So these numbers are coming because it's kind of, I'm not going to say it's misleading, but it just confused me. So those numbers are actually coming from it would be coming from the 24, 25 numbers and not 25, 26, correct?
It's going to be coming from prior year that's already established in the
Correct,
year-end
right.
balance. Correct. We
Yes.
have not done anything with what we feel is going to be the fiscal year 25 year-end funds.
I just for public clarity and for our clarity too, because if you read it one way, it looked like we were kind of putting the cart before the horse.
Correct.
So we were approving $740,000 before June the 30th had hit, just assuming we had those monies. So I appreciate the
Yes,
clarification.
those funds were already in the audited records.
All right, thank you, Kim.
Board, any other questions? Is there a motion?
With that being said, Mr. Chairman, I'll approve the supplemental appropriation for the year-end fund transfer.
All right. There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. Is there any discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Okay. Appropriation of revenue, Amherst County Public Schools.
Okay, last one for this afternoon. This is actually request for additional funds that the school is receiving that were not part of the budget process. It's grants that, aside from the Medicaid, because this is appropriating $200,000 more in Medicaid dollars that's been received above what was budgeted. The rest are just new grants that were applied for and awarded during this year.
Board, any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
is this reimbursement related back to the school, or is this new money?
This is
Medicaid
going to
reimbursement back to the school, or is this new money?
This is going to be new money awarded to the schools through these grants, but we do have to go through a reimbursement process to obtain it.
But not reimbursement for services provided to students? I probably
That's
didn't
correct.
phrase that right.
Yes,
Okay.
that's
All
correct,
right,
ma'am.
thank you.
Any other questions? All right, if not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board appropriate $1,628,750.08 of additional revenue to the 2025-26 school operating budget.
All right. There's a motion on the floor by Ms. Tucker. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Okay, thank you very much. That was the last one, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to data center discussion. Mr. Bryant?
Yes, sir. I just want, at our last board meeting, which was on May the 19th, the board had a discussion about putting this back on the agenda. You asked us to put it back on the agenda. It's back on the agenda. However, at the May 21st Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission decided to take this topic up and look at the topic. So I'm reporting to you that the Planning Commission is taking the topic up, and they are going to start looking at data center regulations.
Okay. All right, so, board, public, apologize, I missed last meeting. I was actually at the beach, and believe it or not, I was watching the meeting because I'd rather do that than sit in a hot sandbox. But, so I believe there was some discussion from the board about requiring a special use permit for data centers, at least from two of you. And I believe the way that ended up was that you would rather have a full board to discuss it before you move forward. Is that a fair?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, since I chair for you in your absence, it was the majority of the board's consensus that we would take this up in discussion, but also to Mr. Bryant's comments a moment ago with me being on the Planning Commission, the Planning Commission chair led the discussion at the last meeting and directed his staff to move forward to start acquiring information on what that would look like for the county, gathering that information and data compared to other localities to see what it looks like. And Mr. Creasy, where is he at? I know he's here. Oh, there he is. I'm not sure if you would like to, but I think it would, in my opinion, be appropriate for him to provide an update on where he's at based on what the planning commission directed him to do.
I can. Chair, Board, good to see you all. We held just a brief discussion at commission, and the direction suggested by staff was for us to look at what other localities in the state currently have. So staff will be providing a comparative chart of probably approximately 20 to 30 localities in Virginia, whether they're a special exception or a by right development in those localities, as well as any additional provisions that they may have set forth specifically for data centers. In addition to that, we'll have a summary of the JLARC report, which was submitted, I want to say, a few years ago regarding data centers. Talks about noise pollution, water pollution, all different things, the pros, the cons, providing that to the commission, as well as a working product for a drafted ordinance, which will provide the commission special provisions to regulate such uses, as well as giving them guidance to determine their recommendation on whether they should be a special exception or a by right development in our industrial district.
Okay. Anyone else want to speak?
Yeah, this,
Mr. Creasy, could you come back, please?
well, I don't have a question.
Well, I do. when you do that.
Okay. Yeah, well, the industrial area is in District 4, which is in my district. And I've seen, many of my people that I'm supposed to represent come here, and they have valid concerns. Myself, I have the biggest concerns up front would be water usage and electricity usage. And how do we supply millions of gallons worth of water to cool this infrastructure? So from day one, I've had concerns with them. And certainly there is a rush to put them up everywhere in the United States as quickly as they can put them up. And a look on social media, you will find every locality that has them are dealing with the same issues. A lot of people in the areas, their lives are disrupted. They don't know what to do. Their property is disrupted. So I'm in absolute support of making this a special exception. We have special exceptions for solar panels in certain districts of the county. At least this way, we would allow our community to voice their concerns and allow us to have control over what goes in and what does not. In 20 years from now, 10 years from now, it may be obsolete. There may be something else that comes along. We'll be dealing with these massive, humongous data centers. I've seen them firsthand. They got one in Mecklenburg County. Now, there are benefits from it. There might not be the jobs, but there is a tremendous tax benefit for the localities. It provides a windfall of taxes. And whether or not that takes any pressure off your real estate, that would really be up to the board to decide to rein in their spending and put some of that money away. But I've yet to see a government or board that gets additional revenue and decides to cut taxes. I just have never seen it. It's just a losing battle. So I'm hoping,
Where's the audit?
I'm hoping that the planning commission will do this in a very fast and meticulous way so we can get this through this board quicker than rather later. But I don't want to see us put something forward that is not stand the test of time, so to speak. So.
Gotcha. Anybody else? Ms. Campbell? Ms.
Yeah,
Tucker?
he makes a good point, actually. So on a timeline, Mr. Creasy, what do you think you would be looking at? So everybody's kind of got an idea here.
Yeah, that's a great question. So like I said, we'll have a drafted ordinance presented to the commission, hopefully at their June meeting, which is the 18th, I believe. Based on feedback from them, if it's not too much for staff to undertake, then we could do a public hearing with the commission in July, and then coming to you all as a first read in August. I would just put an asterisk next to that. There's a lot of information we're going to be providing the commission at this next meeting. And I can't foresee the future of what they would like to see, but that would be the quickest timeline. I would say the latest that it would come before you would be September.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I have a legal question for our attorney. If while they're discussing this, someone applies for a data center, as of now, is a by right.
Once the application is submitted and is complete, then they would be able to move forward with their application process as a by right use.
Does it matter that we are in the,
No, sir.
All right. Well, I would add one caveat to that, that the Economic Development Authority is the holder of that land, and they can dictate who and what they sell that property to. So,
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, they're the owner of the property, so they can determine how quickly or not quickly that a sale happens.
Mr. Popovich, I respect you a great deal, but I'm going to challenge you on that, and I'd like for you to do further research. Just because there's an application submitted, there's no affirmative governmental action until that plan is approved. So they would have no vested right until the plan's approved. Is that correct or incorrect? I think it's correct, but we can debate it.
You're correct when in terms of a vested right assertion.
So if the process changes before the plan is approved,
Yes, I agree with you
Okay.
in respect of that there needs to be an official governmental action
Gotcha.
taken. If such an action is taken, then yes, they would be granted a vested right in the by right use.
if the plan is approved or permit issued, yes. Okay. Anything else? All right. Mr. Creasy, so what concerns me about what you just said is we're going to give them all this information, right? And let them determine if they want it to remain by right or special exception. What I've been hearing, what I heard when I was watching from the beach and what I'm hearing up here is that I'm reading the tea leaves that this board wants it to be a special exception, right? So I'm going to put a motion on the floor in a minute, but that's the way I would expect it to come back.
And I completely understand that and agree. Based upon the last meeting, nothing was given to staff to take to the commission. And so in between there and with the commission meeting, staff just presented the options. So if you all as a board would like to make that motion and direct staff to present that to the commission as is, we're more than happy to do that.
Gotcha. Now, I'm going to say this, and you guys know I don't get on social media and debate things, but that's just not who I am. If you want to debate something, call me. Please email me. I'll definitely reach back out to you. The way I remember all this is that a tract of land became available. We call it the Dillard Tract, right? And it's been zoned for manufacturing 30 years. Look, it was zone manufacturing when I got on the board. It's been zoned that way for a while. Please contact Mr. Bryan and Mr. Creasy. I'm not saying it was always zone manufacturing, but at some point it got changed. It was a long time ago, okay? It was Old Virginia, portion of it was Old Virginia Brick Company, correct?
That's correct.
The brick from my house came right there. I walked up there and spent hours with my wife trying to figure out which brick to use, okay? They don't make them anymore, if that, but anyway, the land became available. There was a grant that the EDA received that covered half the purchase price. Is that correct?
More than half.
Okay, more than half. The EDA came to the board to help with the funding the remainder. Is that correct? Right? To have more developable property for industrial type uses, okay? Job creation, what I heard from the EDA is that, yes, we have those industrial parks, but they're filling up. The EDA is looking long-term, okay? So, what I don't want you to leave here thinking, the EDA's job is to market the property, okay? Now, is marketing it for a data center the best thing to do? That's fairly debatable, as we've seen today, right? Very debatable. But it's zoned for manufacturing development, and at some point in the future, that property is probably going to develop somehow. Is it going to develop as a data center? I don't know. It definitely won't without a lot of public input, is what I'm hearing today, okay? But that land is zoned for development. So you need to understand that it's not going to remain, well, the trees are gone now, right? It's not going to remain that way forever. What we're talking about today is, should a use such as a data center that is hundreds of thousands of square feet that could or could not use a substantial amount of water that affects our resources for other type of development in the county, right? That, look, the electricity, I understand that, and I get with you, but I think at least from what I've read, what drives electricity use up is that the infrastructure investment that goes into it, and if they're doing data centers, in the next county over, they're probably going to distribute that throughout. So there's a lot of unknowns that I want to know, and that's why I would support the special use permit process. So I would like for this board to consider this motion of directing the planning commission to draft and act on and forward to the Board of Supervisors by August of 2026, an ordinance regulating data centers in the, M1 industrial zone? M1 industrial zone for our consideration by special use permit. Is that clear enough?
Yes, caveat, commission does have 100 days to act on any public hearing.
I understand that, but I also hope they would understand the importance of this.
I think they do.
And I think you've already got some draft ordinances, and that would be very helpful. Okay? Is there any discussion on my motion? All right. If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Thank you. Have a great day. Okay. Moving on to road naming, Elan Forest subdivision, Mr. Chief Beam. Slow down, everybody.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and board members. Coming to you this afternoon, as some of you are probably aware, there's been a addition to Elon Forest, what they're referred to as Phase 2, off of River Road. And that project's come to completion. It's approximately 10 lots on that road. None of it's been developed yet, and the developer has requested to name that road Willow Creek Way. We've challenged against all of our ordinances and so forth for naming, and we have no objection to it. They've officially made that request, so come to you today for the approval.
So Chief Beam, this is where all the clearance been that we've been talking about?
No, sir.
No.
Oh, no. This is just 10 lots.
This isn't a public hearing, right?
This is not a public hearing,
All
no,
right,
sir.
Board, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, this is in my district, and I'm very familiar where Mr. Chief Beam's talking about. So I'll move that the Board of Supervisors approve the road name Willow Creek Way for the new roadway located within the Elon Forest Phase 2 adjacent to River Road, as requested by the owner, developer, and outlined in the materials provided within the board packet.
All right, Board, there's a motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. Is there any discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, that's everything on new business, correct? Yep, so we'll go back up to ordinance first read. Mr. Creasy, ordinance 2026-4, height restriction and yard requirements in the M1 district.
Yes, Chair, Board, good to see you all. So just to start off, I'd like to mention staff handed you all a letter from our EDA, the chair, requesting a change to the commission. The commission took that request under advisement and directed staff to work on an ordinance, which is seen before you today. So this change is relating to the yard requirements as well as the height restrictions in our industrial district. So the first is that our current height restrictions for our M1 industrial district is 65 feet. The proposed change brought before you with this ordinance is to increase that height to 125 feet. Based off of that, based off the additional height requirements, staff hasn't included Requirements for all buildings are in our M1 industrial district that can be found under section 803.03. The first is relating to fire apparatus and access roads. This portion of the ordinance was done in conjunction with our building official as well as our fire and EMS staff. The first requirement is that fire apparatus access roads shall extend within 150 feet of all portions of the building. The second is aerial fire apparatus access road shall have a minimum unobstructed width of 20 feet and be constructed to support a minimum load carrying capability of 85,000 pounds. And item C indicates that the access road shall be located not less than 15 feet, not greater than 30 feet from the building. The second bullet under fire apparatus roads is that any such building should be provided a measurably greater level of safety than what is prescribed by the latest adopted version of the International Fire Code or the Virginia Construction Code as determined by the county's building official and fire code official. We then would move on to the setbacks for our M1 industrial district. So you'll notice here that we have struck out item B. And we have changed this to item E, and that would read as that buildings adjoining residential or agricultural zoned lots shall observe a minimum setback equal to the total height of the building, which is a 1-to-1 ratio, measured perpendicular from the property line to the closest point of the structure. Individual buildings adjoining a lot zoned M1 industrial or B2 general commercial may be attached on the side lot line or at the rear lot line. All of this information is found in Ordinance 2026-4 that's in your packet. And at this time, do you have any questions for staff? And there's also a recommended motion, and we would need one for today.
All right, stand by. So this is just consideration of moving it forward to a public hearing.
That's correct.
Okay.
Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Mr. Creasy, because I heard a whole lot of blah, 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 blah. So just, what's the heights now, and what would be the upper limit of a height?
Sure. Right now, maximum height is 65 feet. The proposed height is 125 feet maximum.
Over double.
Correct.
And what about the setbacks? Because
So we increased the setbacks. Staff proposed increasing setbacks. I will mention, we went through multiple iterations with our planning commission to get to this point. This process started in January of this year, and it's becoming before you now in June, so it's been about a 5-month process with the commission. The setbacks used to be that there was a 25-foot setback to residential and agricultural lots. So as it stands now, if you got an industrial piece of property, you want to go build a manufacturing building, you would have to meet a 25-foot setback, no matter, so long as you're under the height restriction of 65 feet. What is proposed now is a 1-to-1 ratio from the closest, measured perpendicular from the property line to the closest point of the structure. And the reason it's written like that is because not every building is a perfect box. Some, it might be taller, then go down and be shorter. So it's measured from that closest point of the building to that lot line, in which all buildings, no matter if you're a 40-foot building or a 125-foot building, it would have to be a 1-to-1 ratio to residential and ag lots.
But you're talking about, you're not talking about the rooftop, you're talking about where the roof connects to the wall, correct? I mean, or if it's a flat roof.
Right,
But,
exactly.
I mean, if you had a shorter,
So
technically you could have them closer to a residential property line if they're not above, say, 25 feet, right?
Correct. Well, so, I mean, the building's gonna have to be somewhat, so if it's a 10-foot building, you're correct, it would only have to meet a 10-foot setback.
But, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Ms. Tucker.
I had a follow-up question, but let Mr. Campbell go.
Mr. Campbell.
Mr. Creasy, if I hear you right, if the part of the building that is closest to an adjoining property is, as you said, 10 feet, then you'd have a 10-foot setback. But if that rooftop, 20 foot from that end of that building were to be 70, 80 feet, you still have a 10-foot setback. Is that what I heard you say?
So depending on,
Because the
yes,
roof
to
lines-
an extent, yes. However, I would caveat, and it's not clear in here, but if we're provided a site plan, and let's say that 78-foot tall building is within 78 feet, and so you got 78 feet, then it extends only like 5 feet over and it's only 10 feet. Staff is not going to require a 10-foot setback. We're going to require from that point to that property line to be 78 feet tall.
So you're not gonna go from what, the edge of the building?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Ms. Tucker.
Yep. So I understand the logic and what the EDA is asking for, and it makes sense to me. But my question, just to make sure, do we have fire apparatus that will reach 125 feet safely?
105 feet.
105 feet?
At
Answer to that is yes?
45 degrees. It's not going to go all of 125 feet, no. Nope.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I don't.
It will not reach 125 feet. No, ma'am. Will not. It will reach 105 feet.
But.
And you're
Mr.
asking for
Chair-
125?
That was the request, yes.
But, Ms. Tucker, in regards to that comment, you know, in my previous life, you're never gonna be able to use aerial fire apparatus to be able to reach all points of the building. So,
So y'all are comfortable with that?
yeah,
Okay,
we're
I'm
never
good.
gonna be able
I'm
to
good.
overcome that challenge.
Maybe from a fire standpoint, I'm comfortable with it, but there's other issues that I haven't got to speak on.
Yeah, I have issues with that height. I think that it should be a special use request because we were just talking about the Dillard track and the property that butts up against it, and you're looking at 125 foot, which is taller than just about any tree you would see in Amherst County. Maybe a tulip poplar could grow taller than that. And you would be obstructing, I just do not like the idea of extending it to 125 feet by right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
as we've discussed this earlier, the Allied Arts Building downtown Lynchburg is 132 feet. That's, I think, 17 stories. This would be, I guess the difference would be the height of that door from the Allied Arts Building in height.
I'll take your word on that.
Yeah, I don't know many contractors that has equipment that would reach that high without renting. I have concerns with that, and as Mr. Pugh stated, it's not a no-go, but I would also like to see this one being a special exception on that height requirement.
All right, we'll do a little bit of zoning history. Equitable Life Insurance Building in New York City. But you remember this one. If you don't, you do, don't you? All right, so I forget the year, but it was built in New York City. It was built without any zoning or building code requirements. And it was built to a height that cast a 5-acre shadow over downtown New York, right?
Zoning was created.
That's exactly right. That led to Edward Bassett creating the first model zoning ordinance. And I believe it was 1926 maybe, but anyway, that's how zoning came about, was this tall, very tall building. So do we need to be able to allow very tall buildings in our M1 zone? I'm sure we do, because of whatever kind of manufacturing processes that might be occurring. What concerns me is the ability to have a 125-foot building 125 feet away from a residential property line, where they're only required to be, 40 feet off the side yard, and then you've got a 125 feet building overlooming them. It's kind of the same thing, right? It doesn't make very good sense to me. And then you're measuring from the property line, right? So then what if their topography is they go up 125 feet and they're 20 or 25 feet in elevation above, then the actual elevation is 155, 160 feet. So I think this needs a lot more work. I understand the need for 125 feet, but the way this is written, I don't support it. So I would suggest you guys, I don't think it's ready for public hearing. It's just my opinion. there's 4 other people, but I think you need to look at what happens when the elevation would increase the height. It definitely needs to be more than 125 feet away from a residential district. You know, business districts, that kind of thing, great. Our ag and residential districts, no. That's not reasonable to me, right? I happen to know a lot about the Lynchburg ordinance because I wrote a lot of it, and that's what the EDA sent you is not all of it. There's some other height requirements in there. So, board, I would suggest we have staff go back and work on this some more.
That for today?
That's fine if that's what you want to do.
Chair, Board, so I will say that the staff presented the commission definitely with more stringent setbacks. And like I said, we've gone through multiple iterations of this. If you're able to give some type of guidance or direction to not only staff, but to the commission with your motion, we would greatly appreciate that.
Well, I would suggest a starting point, if you're adjacent to a residential district, it would probably be twice the height of the structure.
2 to 1.
Okay? And that's a residential or a residential use, okay? And I would look into what happens if it's, the topography is higher than that residential use, and it might increase more, okay? So guys, what I would recommend is we send it back to the planning commission and have them rework it, unless there's 3 votes to move it forward like it is. But that's where I'm at. Is there a motion to that? Well, I'll make the motion.
Want to table it?
No, I'd make a motion that we send it back to the planning commission to rework the setback requirements for this, from residential or residential use.
Or A1.
Or A1, that would get the residential use. Look, there's got to be transition zones, right? But a 125-foot structure that close to a house is not reasonable.
Staff understands.
Next to a Chevron station, yeah, okay. But somebody's house, no.
Sure.
But now I do have a question, just so that he kind of knows your line of thinking, and you are the planner and I'm not. What would be acceptable if we're going to raise it any, or are you saying don't raise it at all? Huh?
No, just a suggestion, a starting point would be for adjacent to a residential use, a residential zone, or an ag zone, it'd be twice the height of the structure in the industrial district. Adjacent to the business zone or whatever else, it could be 1 to 1, right? So it depends on what type of use you're next to.
Topography.
And look at the topography.
Yeah. I think staff has clear direction. We'll look at a 2 to 1, minus our business and industrial districts, as well as how staff would measure such setback to lots based upon topography and potentially adding in definitions to account for such.
And we want that back by next month. No, I'm kidding.
But what about the actual footage of the 125 feet? Would that be something you want to allow by right? I would like to see it more in line with, keep it at 65, and if there is a situation where you need, just like you do cell phone towers and so forth. Because 125 feet is a huge, huge building. Yeah.
It is, and that's why I'm very concerned about it. I don't, if they can meet the other kind of standards in the ordinance, I don't think if we have somebody that has a piece of industrial land or manufacturing land, and it meets all these standards, because I want to make sure we have the correct standards, that they need to come to us every time to get it approved, right? Now, obviously, we know, you know that I just said there's some uses that we definitely need to look into, right?
Gotcha. All right.
But not everything. That's just me.
All right,
I mean,
that's fine.
Mr. Chairman, since the EDA is here, did you want any input from them?
If you'd like to,
EDA, do you have any input?
state your name and district.
Well, my name is Lori Saunders, District 1. the best district out there.
That's right.
So, as you guys know, we have 2 projects that we're interested in Dillard. They are still active. Both of them are asking for 100 to 120 foot. They have large cranes that go inside of these buildings. They're manufacturing parts. That's all I can tell everybody. That's all I know. But we do have 2 live projects.
Understood. But how close are they to residential uses?
I mean, if you look at that one lot D, if you remember the site plan, that large lot, the only thing that's close to is Old Virginia Brick. So, and the railroad.
Affect
It would not affect it.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, did anybody else have any questions? All right. So there's a motion on the floor, which was send it back to Planning Commission, look at reworking those setback requirements and bringing it back by next meeting. That's a joke. Bringing it back after a public hearing. All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Did you vote?
I did vote.
Good. So everybody said aye?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, moving on to special presentation, state legislative updates. Mr. Creasy.
Staff will try to be brief on this. However, we did want to bring a few bills that were approved by the governor to your attention, as well as for the public to be aware of, as it might affect their community and vice versa moving forward. And it's also important to note that with these things, we're providing a summary, and it really impacts our ordinances and our procedures for staff. So in doing so, staff will, in addition to the 2 other code changes, we'll also be bringing you quite a few other code changes. We'll try to bulk them together in the coming months so that we can be aligned with state code. As you are all aware, we're a Dillon Rule state, so the state tells us what we can and can't do. So a lot of this affects those issues. The first one, and one of the bigger ones, is House Bill 655 and Senate Bill 346 for manufactured housing. To sum it up, it allows for manufactured housing or single wides to be placed in any district that allows a stick-built house. That would be every single district in Amherst County minus our industrial as well as our commercial district. So our R2, R3, mixed-use traditional neighborhood, residential mixed-use, all those districts will now be allowed to have a manufactured housing. Currently, as it stands, we only allow single wides in our A1 district as well as a special exception in our R2 district. So this will be a fairly big change. There is a caveat. You can see that there will have to be certain conditions in order for this to happen, and staff will write this into the definitions of our county code when it comes before you. The first, it has to be converted to real property. Right now, single wides are taxed as a vehicle, so that is one thing. The next is that the certificate of occupancy must be issued within 5 years following the date of the manufactured home. So you can't move a manufactured house that was built in the 1970s into a residential neighborhood. It's got to be a much newer model. And the last, it has to be placed on individual lots. Staff's only opinion on this is to not allow trailer parks to come about all throughout the county. In addition to the changes to our current residential districts, staff is definitely going to have to work with the county attorney regarding our Route 130 corridor. Right now, we require a special exception for manufactured homes within 40 feet of the Route 130 right-of-way. Staff believes we may still be able to keep that provision in place. However, if that manufactured home was to meet those 3 requirements there, it would have to be considered by right. So as we work on this ordinance and bring it before you, that is something that you'll probably see, that we'll just have to change around our section 913 that governs the Route 130 overlay district. And if you have any questions as we go through here, please let me know. The next is House Bill 1463, nonconforming uses. That's supposed to be manufactured homes. I apologize for the typo, but it indicates that a landowner or homeowner may place a manufactured home that meets current HUD requirements on any open lot in a valid non-conforming mobile or manufactured home park, regardless of whether a valid manufactured home is currently located on such lot. So if we were to, there's quite a few areas, especially off of Wright Shop Road, that are zoned R2, that there are multiple manufactured homes there. And they would be considered a vested, non-conforming use. If they did not have a manufactured home there within the past 2 years and using it as such, then that lot would no longer be valid. This bill would allow that 2 years of non-conforming status to pretty much just be, I won't use the word eternity, but for the foreseeable future, there is no 2-year period for a non-conforming use of a trailer park in an open lot. The next is regarding House Bill 1279 and Senate Bill 388 for affordable housing. This is definitely one that staff will have to work with the county attorney on to get a better idea of what this involves. But to sum it up, it mandates that zoning ordinances shall allow the by right development of up to 20 units per acre on property owned by nonprofit or churches. There is a caveat to this, which staff found is that the provisions of this legislation become effective on January 1st, 2027 and expire on January 1st, 2031. So this bill is only in place for a certain amount of period. So it's pretty much churches, nonprofit organizations, if they're within your designated growth boundary and have access to public water, public sewer, they're allowed to build by right, I would say multifamily units at a maximum of 20 units per acre. Staff did a quick search of our properties within our designated growth boundary for public water and public sewer. There's only approximately about 3 properties that I believe would meet this criteria. However, it is still possible, and the biggest thing is that it has to be owned for the previous 5 years, so it's not like a nonprofit could now go buy county land, consider a nonprofit, and then move forward with the legislation that's part of this bill, which is a good thing. If you have more questions about that, please definitely let me know as we continue the research on that bill. The next is regarding accessory dwelling units, Senate Bill 531, which requires the locality to include in its zoning ordinance an accessory dwelling unit or an ADU. This bill would appear to affect our R1 limited residential district, our residential mixed use district or Old Town Masson Heights, as well as our A1 agricultural residential district. The provisions of the bill go into effect on July 1st, 2027. So staff and you all as the board have about a year or so to get an ordinance in place to allow accessory dwelling units in these zoning districts. The state also provides guidelines on which we can require certain requirements as well what we cannot. So this probably won't be in the bulk ordinance changes that you see, but it will come before you probably in the next 12 months. Moving on to House Bill 153 and Senate Bill 94 for data centers. As a caveat, just aware the ordinance that staff is currently working on includes the information that you see before you, and it provides that prior to any approval of a rezoning application, special exception application, or special use permit for the siting of a new high-energy use facility, a locality shall require that an applicant perform and submit a site assessment to examine the sound profile of the data center on residential units and schools located within 500 feet of the property boundary. So staff already is working on this with the ordinance that you all just discussed previously. The next is regarding quite an interesting bill that was passed that we're working with the county's building official on. And this is House Bill 590 and Senate Bill 382, which requires that a smart solar online permitting platform be created. To sum it up, what this would do, and I think it has to be in place by 2027, and then by 2028, a locality must either have their own permitting software that replicates what the state is doing, or go into with what the state's online platform does, which allows a property owner or somebody that wants to put residential solar panels on their property bill to apply through this platform and then be issued the permit within seconds. It's a online generation thing that is now required to reduce the lag time between applying, building plan review, and inspections. So this is something that staff will work with our building official on to ensure that we're in compliance with this. The next is regarding the letter that you all sent to the governor asking for House Bill 891 and Senate Bill 443 to be vetoed. Unfortunately, they did not side with the county as this was approved by the governor, which makes utility-scale battery energy storage systems a by right use on any parcel that has previously been approved for utility-scale solar that is subject to an approved special use permit or any other similar approvals. Staff would like to note that in this, it appears that our current battery energy storage regulations that you all approved as an ordinance back in the fall can still be placed upon any type of use of this, as well as a siting agreement. So a siting agreement can still be required, as well as the current county's regulations. It's just you don't have the ability to say no. It has to be done so long as those meet those standards and requirements. And that's a quick synopsis. There are actually more codes and bills that staff will have to put in place regarding how approvals go, as well as appeals, and that information will be brought to you in the coming months. Do you have any questions for staff?
Board. Mr. Creasy, thank you. I read that. I think I read something you prepared a while back, and it's very thorough. You did outstanding work putting that all together in a way that's easy to understand, so thank you for that. And it looks like we got a lot of work to do. Yes. Or you got a lot of work to do. All right, moving on. County Administrator's Report, appointment of the new FOIA officer.
Yes, the Code of Virginia and public bodies they designate a FOIA officer. All local public bodies and regional public bodies, they designate a publicly identify one or more Freedom of Information Act officers, commonly known as FOIA officers, whose responsibility is to serve as a point contact for members of the public in requesting public records and to coordinate the public body's compliance with the provisions of this chapter. There's a motion in your board packet, but we have Alexandra Doss here. Alex, raise your hand. Alex has been with the county for about 4 or 5 months now, has done a fantastic job. She's a very, very hard worker, friendly person, and we're really happy to have her. But what we're asking you to do is designate her as our FOIA officer. Joy Niehaus has been our FOIA officer for years now, so this would transition to Alexandra Doss.
Does she still have to sit outside of your office?
I don't know.
Poor thing. Okay.
I have found her to be very pleasant, very professional, certainly an asset to the organization. But why are you punishing her like this?
I know. Why has she stayed? What I'm asking, but I don't care. All right. Board, is there a motion? I'll make a motion. I move that the board appoint Alexander Doss, Administrative Assistant, to the position of Freedom of Information Act Officer for the county. Is there any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Congratulations. Okay.
What about that?
I'm not sure if that's congratulations, but thank you for everything. Yes, she has been very professional, friendly, exactly the type of people we want representing the county, so thank you.
I don't know, she'll come back in a year, and I bet she won't have the same personality.
All right, County Attorney's Report, Mr. Popovich.
I do not have anything at this time, but I do want to say that Alex has been very good. I am looking forward to working closely with her in handling FOIA requests, and hopefully I can make her life a little bit easier.
Hope so. You got an office for her away from Jeremy, I guess? No.
I will soon.
All right, did we vote on that? No, yes, we did.
we
Okay,
did.
so you didn't have anything. All right, we're moving on to planning, liaison and committee reports. Mr. Adams, Planning Commission.
Yeah, I'm pulling up, well, I had it up, but I may have to lean on Mr. Creasy, but at the last planning commission meeting, we talked about if y'all give me, oh, here it is. So it was probably the lengthiest topic of discussion, and unless Mr. Creasy tells me otherwise, was our discussion on vape shops that we, as a board of supervisors, pushed toward the planning commission to work on. And Sheriff Ayers, we had asked him to be present that night, and he provided a lot of, him and Major Begley as well, provided some worthwhile information for us to be able to, or the planning commission rather, to proceed forward with some direction on how we're gonna manage the vape shops. Also, there was some discussion about regulation of RVs and time parameters associated with RVs on properties. And that's a work in progress. Other than that, just a couple of things that will be coming before us that are pretty benign, and I don't think it's worth us having a lot of lengthy discussion on it. I think it was a residential use up in Neola area, which again, very benign. But Mr. Creasy, where did you go? Does that pretty much sum it up fairly well? Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. All right. We're back to citizen comment. Is there anyone that would like to address the board? Yes, Mr. Labadie. If you'd state your name and district again, please, sir.
Mark Labadie, District 1. I would like to acknowledge also that Ms. Doss has been very professional with regard to her handling of my FOIA requests. And on that note, I'm going to make another one today right now. And what I would like to have done is I want to see all of the data regarding the grant that was given to the EDA relative to purchasing of the Dillard property. Also, relative to the EDA and the Dillard property, those are not causes, those are effects. The cause of the problem is the expenditure of citizens' tax dollars without our permission or our agreement to purchase a property to develop. The government, the scope of the government is not to be competing with private enterprise in the real estate procurement and development process. It is to administer judicial and legislative areas of concerns that the citizens have, as well as public safety. So, the problem really boils down to procurement of real estate by the county. Stop spending our money without our permission.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Hearing and seeing none, citizen comment section is closed. Matters from the members of the Board of Supervisors. Ms. Tucker.
Not at this time.
Okay. Mr. Campbell.
No, sir.
Mr. Pugh.
I have nothing.
Mr. Adams.
The only thing I was asked of our county administrator, which just came up to me, is I was coming up 29 business into this from the city the other day. Could you speak to Mr. Brown, or I'm not sure, has he retired yet? Robert Brown? Could you speak to him and see if we can get anything done from the Jersey barrier all the way up to Lowe's on both sides, where the dirt and stuff is accumulated there and weeds are growing tall, just as far as the aesthetics go. When it opens up right there at Lowe's and everything's being mowed and everything looks nice coming into, but we just need to fix that. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I have nothing. So moving forward, there's 2 closed sessions. Is there a motion for the closed sessions?
I make a motion, we go into closed session.
Or
I'm looking at it here. Specific to legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel related to the Winton property pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A8 of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended, and B, a closed session for the limited purpose of discussing a prospective business where no previous announcement has been made of the business's intent to locate in the county pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A5 of the Code of Virginia.
there's a motion on the floor by Ms. Tucker to go into closed session to discuss those 2 items. Is there any discussion amongst the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
we're gonna make a motion for both of them, because I'm gonna probably be out of one of them.
Okay. So which one are you not going to attend?
I'm not gonna attend the B.
B.
B?
Same with me.
Okay. Gotcha.
Mr. Chairman, do you want me to split that, or do you just want to reflect it in the record?
Let's split it, please.
Okay.
All right, so if we could vote on item A, which is the Winton property, legal advice. All those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Okay. A closed session for limited purpose of discussing a prospective business where no previous announcement has been made. Of the business's intent to locate in the county pursuant to section 2.2-3711A5 of the Code of Virginia. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Those
Nay.
opposed, nay.
Nay.
All right, very good. We're in closed session.
attention span has only been so long.
You gonna do it? I got it. I got it.
Okay, board, is there a motion to come out of closed session?
Mr. Chair, I move that the Board of Supervisors certify by recorded vote that to the best of each board member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion authorizing the closed session were heard, discussed, and considered in the closed session.
Mr. Chairman, do we need to make that two
Yep.
separate ones?
I was
All
gonna
right.
suggest, we'll do paragraph, we'll do A first.
That is my motion for paragraph A.
Okay, Ms. Tucker?
Aye.
Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Pugh?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
And I vote aye, so that
All
one.
right.
All right,
So-
paragraph B, the same thing.
Do you need me to read the motion again?
I think it's fine.
Huh?
I think it's fine the
Okay,
way we are.
good.
So, on B, Supervisor Tucker?
Aye.
All right, I guess you're abstaining, Mr. Campbell?
I'm abstaining, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Pugh?
Abstain?
All right, Mr. Adams?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Is there a motion, so we're out of closed session, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.